What's up, guys? Happy Friday. I keep saying Friday feels like a Monday, but it's because yesterday was virtually a day off, but it wasn't, but it was, right? No live streams, nothing like that. Except, I don't know, I mean, I had the day off, but Josh is a psychopath that, I was sitting on the couch, and Josh was like, hey, I sent you a video for the one game Pistons Magic slate breakdown. I was like, what? You did what now? What? Huh? you took time. Josh really loves him some basketball.
It's my favorite thing. 100%.
Hey man, I got love for that. That's awesome. So much so that Josh just got done talking about tonight's slate from an abbreviated standpoint for prop shopping, and he's gonna stick around because Raj doesn't know how to reply to DMs. Shout out to Raj, but shout out to you guys in the live chat. Some of you guys were here before I was. We had to kind of buy some extra minutes, man. I'm telling you, this channel is blowing the F up, and it's hard to stay on time, especially when slates are 12 games large. But here we are. Shout out to Mia Moore, Conscious, Robert Blah, I don't know, Jermaine Mitchell, just says Jordan Clarkson. Yes, Jordan Clarkson. Obi-Wan in the chat. William Lewis, Nate J. Gunn, did you mention your top 5 picks for PrizePicks? I didn't catch it in the stream. Might have messed up. I mean, we did, but so like if we had to rank them just to get that out the way, it was CJ McCollum assist 7.5, 1 for sure. I was on J-Val fantasy points. What else sticks out to you, Josh?
Halliburton fantasy points or is it 8.5 assists?
Okay, yeah.
And then DeJounte's 50 fantasy point, and then Mike Conley PRA
yes.
Or 6.5 assists, and then we're waiting on Jordan Clarkson props to drop.
And if they launch Mike Conley's fantasy points at like less than 30, I'd probably buy into that too. But anyway, what up, Mike Durbin? What up, Chickaroo? Shout out to all you guys. Making it on time, better time than I had. If you guys didn't see, put up a new video. Obviously, we have Josh's morning video, but also put up a video partnering with OddsJam, new sponsors of the channel. Welcome them to the Gundacker Gaming family. Highlighting 3 of my favorite props, with showing you some avenues to take advantage of those props individually, not necessarily in the parlay format that we do on PrizePicks, and finding some of the better lines to shop. They got a really cool tools over there. So you want to check that out. Show that video some love. It is on the channel. Slam it with them thumbs up. A lot of what we talked about on that video, I'm going to be talking about on this video. What up, Steve Lee Bowitz? All right, let's go up and get to the breakdown screen, man. Let's get down to business. We were dropping frames in the other one, so I'm gonna put it back in performance mode here. All right, let me make sure that I have the right window length. Yeah, that'll do it. All right, now we're ready to go. Anyway, Josh, one of the coolest things about 3 p.m. Eastern is not just the fact that a lot of the work days are over, but it's also when Underdog, our buddy Jay Fan, and I say our buddy lightly because I don't think he knows who I am, puts out a news to watch tweet every day. So we're gonna let that start us off here and refresh our memory of all the news that we need to keep tabs on tonight on this 12-game slate. Joel Embiid questionable. Went through shoot around earlier. LeBron James questionable. John Morant on track to play. Trae Young's questionable. Jimmy Butler questionable. SGA questionable. De'Aaron Fox questionable. Zach LaVine's probable. Scrolling down here, Trent Forrest was ruled out. Talked about that impact on Mike Conley being a little bit more significant than you might think, especially based on the results of the last game without Donovan Mitchell with Conley against the Denver Nuggets. Seth Curry said he'll play. Shout out to Seth Curry for letting us know that. Marquise Chris is probable, so maybe that front court for the Mavs gets even more untouchable unless it's Dwight Powell against the Rockets. And that's it. So I'm going to plug RunDFS.com real quick because that's the premium resource of the projections and the index portal in the spreadsheet that I'm going to be using throughout the duration of this stream. If you guys want to add literally what we're using to your set of tools, your tool bag, go to RunDFS.com, click VIP memberships, get that thrown into your bag of tricks. And then after you do upgrade to a membership, click VIP portal and jump in the Discord. Link to the premium Discord in there. And then every day before lock, for about 2 hours before lock and a little bit after lock, we're in that voice chat, chopping up shop, digesting news, talking game theory strategy. I'm working on my player pool, tightening the screws on the projections. Many hands make light loads. Won't he do it? Hallelujah. And then if you don't want to spend too much money, we have a free Discord as well. And a link to that is in the description below. So game number 1 tonight. There's only one game, 12 games on this slate, but only one game at the 7 o'clock tip-off lock time here, and that's the Dallas Mavericks at the Philadelphia 76ers. The Mavericks projected starting 5, Luka Doncic, Jalen Brunson, Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Dwight Powell taking on Tyrese Maxey, James Harden, Matisse Thybulle, Tobias Harris, and Joel Embiid. Embiid did go through shoot-around earlier, still officially questionable. You know, Doc, I don't know, maybe, probably he'll play. We'll see. Baby, I don't know. That's Doc's giving us an update. Shout out to Doc. It's a meager total, meager pace. So in the grand scheme of a 12-game slate, this is certainly the least sexy when it comes to pace. Dallas running the slowest pace in all of basketball. Philadelphia, the third slowest pace. With that said, there's a high volume of concentrated minutes and usage on guys like Luka, Joel Embiid, and James Harden. And if we were able to get no Joel Embiid, James Harden coming in at sub 10K on both Fanduel and DraftKings would be an insta-click. So there is something to like here, but generally speaking, a lot of high price tags here in a low pace game. The Mavericks are without Hardaway and Reggie Bullock. We saw last game Spencer Dinwiddie start alongside Jalen Brunson. I thought there could have been a range outcome for Josh Green to start. Maybe Marquise Chris being back. You might see a weird lineup where Chris could start and DFS goes to the 3, but Marquise Chris certainly one of the highest foul per minute guys in the league. And Joel Embiid, one of the highest draw foul per minute guys in the league. So he probably wouldn't last that long anyway. Dinwiddie, game winner on his old team, by the way, for Narrative Friday to bring over into this game. Josh, I don't know that there's going to be much in this game that I'm targeting heavily today. We got a couple 240, high 230 games elsewhere on the slate, so I'm going to put a lot of money there. With that said, Joel Embiid is Joel Embiid. I like picking on the Mavericks with bigs, and Joel Embiid is somebody I just like playing. And what we saw last slate was Joel Embiid was, again, part of that first game in a similar spot against a very slow-paced Cavs team, but because he had that lingering questionable tag all day, people just like didn't think of him as somebody that, sometimes you wait for Embiid to be out to jump on Harden, but when Embiid's in, you don't jump on Embiid. I don't know why. Maybe there was just a lot of options elsewhere, but Embiid went out there and dropped 64 fantasy points on his birthday. 35 real points. He's giving you 30-plus real points in 3 straight games now. So even with the team implied for less than 120, he still is live for 30 of those, and then plenty of rebounds and plenty of peripherals to boot here. So Joel Embiid, even in a slow-paced game, certainly very, very viable if you're just trying to grab dominator points. I don't mind him. Do you think anyone else in this game kind of pops up, bleeds through here? Luka Doncic is at 10.6K on FanDuel. I get a pretty solid projection, just under 60 fantasy points there, and then Brunson and Dinwiddie, I don't feel like I play both of them here. I might drive a wedge if in my fantasy cruncher settings, one or the other. It just feels like I'm getting the same projection, the same range of outcome, and I guess I'll probably go for the cheaper option here. But I don't know anything I should be liking more than I am here. I'm just not that high on the bulk of this game, and the studs I'll probably have limited exposure to.
No, yeah, I'm with you on that. I mean, like you said, this is the two slowest teams running this two slowest pace. I think 76ers are last. No, the Mavs are last, and the 76ers are right behind them at 29th in pace. I mean, we've been watching 76ers games lately, and their point totals are very low. But yeah, I mean, B could still get there in those low implied totals, but yeah, this game environment doesn't really set up that well for a back and forth shootout. I mean, maybe you might have a spike game with these slow teams, but probability says that it's gonna be a low implied total. So for DFS, yeah, I wouldn't look for a game stack here. One thing I was wondering, like this game it should be, it's a good basketball game, and I'm surprised it's not like a nationally televised game. What happened to NBA Fridays? Like I noticed in the last, I don't know, 2-3 weeks, they're just like gone. Because you always had the ESPN NBA Friday games, right? Yeah, like the early game and then the late night hammer game on ESPN.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a contract. I don't know what the rules are there. I usually don't watch I just watch League Pass and streams here.
Yeah, I watch League Pass too, but I also look out for what games are going to be like the primetime ESPN games.
I was gonna say, the ESPN. Yeah, I was gonna say the NBA TV primetime stuff. I never really bought into, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Something to keep an eye. So okay, I'm in agreement with you. Prop wise, Tyrese Maxey's always live for that 17.5 real points, but I'm kind of with you. I'm probably for DFS. I'm gonna have probably just no more than 1/6 or no more than Mavs in my pool, and then if Embiid decide to take the night off here, that would change everything, literally everything. James Harden would be a core play just because he's a usage animal, and then we have extremely low price Tobias Harris, Maxey, and then there's DeAndre Jordan, who I don't want to play, but maybe he falls into a lineup or two. Let me get caught up on chat. Shout out to Doug. What up, Doug? Picking on the Lakers and Blazers tonight. Very, very susceptible. Easy to target teams. Blazers, though, I always worry about them keeping games close here. Arizona drama. What up, Arizona? I feel like I haven't seen you in a minute. Gunn, Lowry, Barrett, and CJ, or Levine, DeRozan, and Schroeder. Probably Lowry, Barrett, and CJ. But Lowry, me personally, I might turn Lowry into Mike Conley. And I'm just assuming that Conley's cheaper than Lowry, but I could be wrong. And then, and Barrett's whatever. But CJ I love. Levine and DeRozan, you might be vulturing each other, but maybe not. They could probably combine for 50 real points and go from there. I guess it just comes down to I'm not that in love with Dennis Schroeder, and I'm not that in love with Kyle Lowry. Memphis Grizzlies at the Atlanta Hawks, so this is the first game part of the 7:30 series of games. So if you didn't really like the Philadelphia 76ers and Mavericks and you wanted no exposure, you wouldn't have to get those CSVs uploaded for an extra 30 minutes, and maybe some people force themselves into exposure in their first game, and who knows, maybe some rake is paid because Tobias Harris is too cheap, and people pick him up for 18. Grizzlies project starting 5 here: John Morant, Desmond Bane, Dylan Brooks, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Stone Cold Steven Adams. It's going to get you one board. What? Taking on Trae Young, maybe Kevin Huerter, DeAndre Hunter, Danilo Gallinari, and Clint Capella. 237.5 total with a 5-point spread in favor of the visiting Memphis Grizzlies. The Grizzlies of Memphis. If we pull up the NBA depth chart, fantasy, blah, 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 NBC Sports Edge, shout out to them. This is a pretty cool page to have tabumified. That's not a word. Atlanta Hawks have Trae Young questionable with a left quad contusion, and Danilo Gallinari questionable with a bicep. But John Collins is obviously going to be out because his finger is yikes. So with a 5-point spread as is right now, I would say this: if I'm watching this game from a betting perspective, or I'm watching the board from a betting perspective, if Trae Young doesn't play, I love the Hawks under as a bet. And then I think Grizzlies should be able to smash the Hawks just in general. Just out of curiosity, let me put a little research going. Let's go to StatMuse. So Atlanta Hawks offensive efficiency with Trae Young this season. Trae Young, just off the top of my head, he's about 30 points a game, 10 plus assists. They have a offensive efficiency of 114 this season, which is top 5 in the NBA. And then if we remove Mr. Young from the equation, so we'll change with to without, that offense efficiency goes to, what am I looking at? Offensive efficiency without Trae Young this season. I feel like this is not. Let's go offensive rating. How about that? Offensive rating without Trae Young.
Yeah.
105. So with is 115-ish, 114. Without 105, 105 points per. So they lose 12. They're actually 117 points per 100 possessions with Trae Young, 105 without. So that's a 12-point gap. 105, if we look at the rundfs.com NBA VIP spreadsheet and go to that team metrics chart and sort offensive rating to from worst to best, 105 would be the third worst in the NBA. And then, of course, defensive rating, telling the story here, Memphis is top 8 in defensive rating. All I'm saying is Trae Young represents a whole heck of a lot. So if Trae Young does get rolled out, I'd be running to grab some team total unders on the Hawks. And then I like the Grizzlies' chances to smoke the Hawks. But because it's just a 5-point spread, I feel like Vegas is guessing that Young is closer to in than out, and that DeLon Wright or Bogdanovich doesn't carry the load here. But assuming everyone's in, assuming Gallo and Trae Young are in after a day of rest here, is there much to target here? We got Desmond Bane and Dillon Brooks in the starting lineup. Dillon Brooks recently returning to the Grizzlies team here. Felt like before Brooks went down, it was a little bit of a vulture spot where Bane had to get his, Brooks had to get his. Still think John Morant's going to be the guy that is the king of the usage on the team, the king of the minutes of the team. But a 237 total, is John Morant's 50 fantasy points something that's very viable and very lucrative on this slate? Do we get 60 plus out of them? What's your initial read on this one? I would like to see Trae Young in before I invested in John Morant, because if Trae Young's out, then I really don't have a lot of hopes in this game staying together.
Yeah, especially if Trae is out, I would be hesitant on Morant, especially since he's coming back from this, his back soreness. Like, he would be pulled pretty quickly in a blowout. But if Trae's in, I mean, Morant is a perfect spot for him. Mm-hmm. We love attacking the Hawks' backcourt defense. We saw LaMelo Ball have his recent spike game against them, similar style player as Morant, and I could definitely see him, going for 50 or 60 in this type of game environment. But let's play a little what if scenario. So if Trae Young is out, and let's say Gallo's out too, what kind of rotation lineup would you predict for the Hawks, and how chalky and popular would Bogdan and DeLon Wright be?
I definitely vary. Is a short. I would say definitely DeLon Wright would be chalky. Bogdanovich, 5 to 6K. I need that 30 plus, and there's still Lou Williams in the mix. But I would expect probably inflated ownership, over-owned for DeLon Wright. But he is cheap enough that I understand it.
Do you think they could start together if Gallo's out, and then Hunter would just move down to the 4, and Bogdan would play the 2, and Wright would run point?
I think it is possible. They do have TLC in the mix that maybe could shake things up. I don't know if Kevin Knox gets any type of extra run here, but I truly don't know what they would throw out.
Okay.
But TLC has been a fixture that they kind of can lean on it in situations like this.
Okay, so if he plays, we like Morant and maybe get on some Bane, but what's your thoughts on the Hawks side of the ball if Trae plays and it's a competitive game? Would you like Trae?
So that's the thing when Trey plays, especially in spots where like the field just kind of overlooks him. For like today, I think a lot of people are going to go look at DeJounte or the Rockets and Pacers game. Of course, Jordan Clarkson is going to represent a whole heck of a lot of guard ownership. Trey Young just kind of is there, and if we just let Vegas do the steering here, we get the Hawks implied for 115, 120. Trey Young does so much, and so often I'm looking up, and Trey Young has 60, 70 fantasy points.
Right.
And I'm just like, why don't I have more Trey Young? If his ownership projection stays low, I certainly would get there. But like I said, the splits and the metrics say that it's a tougher matchup. He did play just 27 minutes against the Grizzlies earlier this season. In that game, 48 fantasy points in the 27. So if a game can stay more competitive and that 27 minutes played becomes 34, 35, 36 minutes, that 48 can easily become 55, 60, 60 plus. So I do want to get to some in deep field tournaments, but the matchup and the metrics kind of say that it's not going to be that glorious of a spot.
He's your number one rated guy right now on your projections. He is the highest projected currently fantasy point wise at 62.
Yeah, he does so much. And I do like, if there is one hole in the Grizzlies lineup, it is I do like putting Trey Young in the mix, or I do like attacking him with guards and picking on John Morant's spot. So, yeah, I definitely don't mind it. The other spot here is maybe it's a PrizePicks play, but Clint Capella, he averages over a block per game. The Grizzlies allow the most blocks per game in the league.
That's a great point.
From a PrizePicks standpoint, one of our favorite bets every Hawks slate is Capella first half. I don't see it right now because I guess they're waiting on the Trey Young news themselves. Yeah. But if Capella's fantasy points is 15.5 or less, we might have to take a shot on that.
Yep.
Let's get caught up on chat here. Dangly Zamolfo says there's been enough content on this channel today for me to hit the like button with every finger on one hand. The grind is real. Yeah, we've definitely been producing a lot of stuff. Josh's first look video in the morning, that was ready for you guys to roll out of bed, drink some coffee. This afternoon I dropped a three prop bets I like using OddsJam to find the best value to sports bet it. Trying to get some steam on that, so if you guys haven't seen that video, it kind of dropped right as the PrizePicks stream was starting, so maybe I'm competing against myself there. Hopefully it pick up some steam. New sponsors to the channel. We want to show the sponsors love since they show us love. So even if you don't need to watch it, because a lot of what I said on that we're talking about here, definitely go hit that thumbs up on that one. Maybe share it on a social media platform, and definitely try out the tool itself. OddsJam is a really nifty tool. Arizona Drama says this is a scratch game for me, especially if Trey don't play. Donnie says I think Jaren Jackson Jr. is going to go ham tonight. And Arizona Drama says DeLon Wright at 3,500 on Fanduel. That was interesting. Yeah, it would be hard to get away from his points per dollar projection with implied minutes from Trey Young's absence if Trey Young were to be absent. So certainly don't disagree there. But would probably be generally over-owned. And, we think about some of the alternatives. But I don't know, like I said, I think a lot of ownership in that guard spot is definitely going to start and stop with, not stop, but it's going to start with Jordan Clarkson. Let's move on to the next game here. Denver Nuggets at the Cleveland Cavaliers. Project starting five for the Nuggets: Monte Morris, Will Barton, Aaron Gordon, Jeff Green, and Nikola Jokic taking on Darius Garland, Isaac Okoro, Lamar Stevens, Larry Markkinen, Evan Mobley. 224.5 total, 2.5 point spread. For the visiting Denver Nuggets, Nikola Jokic definitely has every range of outcome and to lead this entire slate in fantasy points accrued. MVP caliber player. He'll take on a still short-staffed Cavs front court without Jared Allen, and then Rajon Rondo back on the out list here, which makes us more privy to Darius Garland. However, Karis LeVert is back in the saddle, and last game did kind of impede perhaps some of Garland's minutes, but especially maybe some of Garland's assists here. LeVert in that last game for the Cavs logged a healthy 25 minutes against Philadelphia, 7 assists here. So
and usage, he was dominating usage as well.
Yeah, I as a Garland prop bet investor, I would like that to stop. But
Me too.
38 minutes is still alive here, and double-digit shot attempts, and still the assist rate's going to be high. And maybe we got a little bit of run good with 11 of 12 free throws against the 76ers. But from a DFS standpoint, you certainly see a little bit of room potential on that price point for both Fanduel and DK. 40-plus fantasy points, very realistic range outcome. The early projections like him for 50, and that would be a huge ROI at 8K. So yeah, I do like the thought of Garland, maybe Garland at Jokic. Jokic is probably the only nugget I want to get access to tonight. But Garland exposure, I'm not really there just yet on Karis LeVert. Evan Mobley's probably also not somebody I'm running to play at 7-7, 7-5, especially catching this difficult matchup against Jokic. Hopefully he stays out of foul trouble. But we just saw Embiid kind of cook Mobley long enough, strong enough to get 60-plus fantasy points. So if you're worried about Jokic and Evan Mobley defense, well, I mean, Embiid did it, and Embiid and Jokic are literally so comparable that they're neck and neck for MVP. So you can give me Garland, you can give me Jokic. That's probably the two core looks I'm taking away from here. Any diamonds in the rough here? Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, so Garland's tough today, right? Like, especially on FanDuel, he's sitting on an island, pretty much him and Halliburton, right? Price tag wise, there's no one really close to them. Otherwise, you're gonna have to pay up to guys like Trey or Luca at 10 plus K. But then, like, yeah, the Garland's at 8.5 and Halliburton's 8.5, and then you have to go down almost another 1K to get to the next set of guys in Reggie and Malcolm. So, I mean, what's your thoughts? I mean, with them both being kind of in this island price area, would that force you to play more of Halliburton because of his matchup, or does that lower your ownership on Garland?
I definitely feel more inclined to get to the Pacers guards, Malcolm and Halliburton, just because that's almost an extra 20 implied points. And the minutes are just about the same. It just feels like the higher pace is a little bit more fruitful opportunity, and we are wrestling with a little bit of unknown versus is Karis LeVert going to get hot or not? And LeVert's certainly been slumpish all year, where he's not as strong as he could be, but they saw some good flashes in that last game. So I'm going to have Garland exposure, but I do think this far out I probably get to more of the Pacers side, just because we've been picking on the Pacers since the All-Star break. We've been picking on the Houston Rockets all year. Now they're in the same game, so I'm like, I got to just be there. And
I'm with you. So I mean, that means Garland's ownership is probably going to be pretty low. So it's something to consider. I mean, point guards versus the Nuggets is a real thing, and they have been thriving. So just something to consider. I mean, since he is kind of just in no man's land and near guys like Halliburton, who will be more popular. Maybe he will have sub, 8% ownership. And like you said, the centers recently against the Cavs have been feasting. I mean, we saw Zubac drop a 50 burger on them. What was it, 2 games ago? And then Embiid had that monster game. Vooch did pretty well against them recently. So I mean, Jokic is always alive, and if this trend keeps going, nothing should change for that, and he should do his usual, 60 plus fantasy points. So.
Yeah, I'm in full agreement there. All right, let's move it on to the next game. Portland Trail Blazers at the Brooklyn Nets. Project starting 5 for the Blazers. Brandon Williams, Josh Hart, Justice Winslow. He's back. Trendon, I'm back. Trendon Watford, Drew Eubanks taking on Goran Dragic. Seth Curry, Bruce Brown, Kevin Durant, and Andre the Giant Drummond. 228 is our total. 14.5 point spread in favor of the home team Brooklyn Nets. So even though Winslow's back here, Blazers get no respect. No respect. You ever watch Rodney Dangerfield?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no respect. No respect. A lot of good ones. I don't know if I could say many of the ones that I love the most. So I get no respect. When I was a kid, my bathtub toy was a toaster or something. He does really good ones. But Winslow is kind of more of an NBA caliber player back for the Blazers to have access to. Chris Dunn's been back in the mix here. So there's some, maybe not spoiler potential, but there is some potential that the Blazers come out and play a Nets team that without Kyrie. Maybe could play down to the competition here a little bit, but I'm gonna let Vegas do the talking here. And the Nets have shown some really big games lately. A couple of those games though are with Kyrie, so I don't know. Maybe it's worth looking at their offensive efficiency with and without Kyrie, because the two most recent blowouts were Kyrie dropping a bomb on Philly and then dropping another bomb on Orlando. So maybe there's a case to be made that this game could be a little bit more competitive. If it did, obviously we know Kevin Durant's usage rate is going to be 30+% without Kyrie in this mix, and then Seth Curry looks like he's going to be back as an option for the Nets, but they still expect decent chunk of minutes for Goran Dragic, and then Andre Drummond without LaMarcus Aldridge. Not quite sure what to plant on him from a minutes projection standpoint. We were kind of flirting with his first half fantasy prop being an option on PrizePicks, but I just think ultimately speaking, I think KD's the strongest option here. I will say there should be at least a debate on what to do with Bruce Brown. Bruce Brown, if you look at his last 6 games, there's only one game where he didn't offer you 30+ fantasy points, and that was in that lopsided game against the Philadelphia 76ers. Past that, 37, 35, 37, 34, 34, 35. I don't like this world that we live in where Bruce Brown is a consistent 30+ fantasy point player, but the minutes have been there. A couple of these games are without Seth Curry. A couple of these games are with Seth Curry. So I do think Bruce Brown is at least in the cards here. I think the $5,600 price point, a little bit more welcoming than the $6,300 on Fanduel. I'm getting about a 30 fantasy point projection on both Fanduel and DK for him. But past KD here, anything you like specifically from a fantasy standpoint, and I mentioned it the other night, Josh Hart felt like Kyle Kuzma earlier this season, where Kuzma was 7 and 8K, and people didn't play him because we were so used to him being 6 and 5K for the last couple of years on the Lakers, and that not even being a good price point more than not. And then Kuzma now, if Kuzma drops a 7 8K without a Porzingis or Dinwiddie or Beal or Montrezl Harrell, that's a borderline free square. Well, Josh Hart has shown an ability to kind of lead the team in just about everything lately, and more than we're used to scoring. 17, 31, 44. The 31 and 44 real points in 2 of his last 3 games. That Knicks game, blowout, slow pace. So if you did paint a picture where the Blazers kept this game longer, stronger, longer, and keep it competitive, maybe Josh Hart could be a sneaky 40, 50+ fantasy points against a probably susceptible backcourt defensively. So maybe back in my pocket, big field tournaments, I'll get to some Josh Hart. But Kevin Durant, if you thought this game would stay close, could lead the slate in fantasy points. But I guess I would ask, do you think this game could stay close? And if so or if not, what would you do with it?
I'm leaning towards no.
Okay.
I would say the probability is just so high that it doesn't stay close, and it's just a ugly game. Even for a DFS standpoint, but Justice Winslow being back in the mix now. He had over 20% usage rate in his game back. I feel like that could eat into Hart a little bit. Yeah. Hart should still dominate, but it's definitely a factor. And then you have Wofford, who's also been getting more usage. That would make me a little more hesitant on Josh Hart. One thing I was looking at, so Drummond, I'm worried about his minute rotation in this matchup as a full game, just because the Blazers do go small with Greg Brown and Keon Johnson at the 5. Those guys, they're less than 6'9", so we could just see Drummond get phased out in the second half. That would be my only reservation with Drummond. It is a DFS GPP play because he could just go off in a limited amount of time in this matchup. So it's setting up nice for him. It's just it's risky. It's risky.
I just took a look at the RunDFS.com premium Discord, and breaking news from the NFL: Deshaun Watson expected to be traded to the Cleveland Browns.
Okay.
All right.
Can he even play?
Yes, well, all of his charges got dropped. I imagine that NFL Commissioner's Office will have. It might be a Trevor Bauer situation, but I think.
Speaking of trade, how do you feel about Luke Voigt leaving? Who are you guys going to replace him with at first base?
We replaced him with Anthony Rizzo, who was going to start over him anyway.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I think I knew he was going to be traded. I tweeted the other night. The thing is, I was expected a little bit more than a maybe minor league relieving pitcher, but Yankees could find some of those diamonds in the rough when it comes to pitchers. They picked up what's his name from the Pirates last year, and he really turned into a solid arm. But I will say the Pirates have certainly been the most dumb team in the league when it comes to knowing their value and what they have at pitching. I mean, you've seen Glass now, Garrett Cole. So many people have come from the Pirates organization in the last 10, 15 years, pitching-wise, and have been so much better elsewhere. But yeah, I was hoping for a little bit more for Luke Voigt, but we knew he had to go. But I still think there's one more move that needs to be made. One more lefty coming to the line. Please no Carlos Correa, but one more lefty. One more lefty.
Yeah. Last thing on this game, on a prop side, Seth Curry's 2.5 threes. That could be interesting. A little revenge narrative here. Maybe he takes a little more shots, and we've seen him get hot, and he could clear that in just a quarter in the first 2 quarters. So something to consider.
Yeah, I agree with all that. Hey, shout out to the live chat. You guys crushing over 100. You guys hanging out, man. Make sure you're hitting that thumbs up, as this fancy little graphic says. Like, subscribe, and click the notification bell. Like Dang Lazy Mofo said, a lot more content lately, so you definitely don't want to be missing out there. And of course, if you're in either of our Discords, you'll get notified when stuff goes up as well. So, shout out to Mighty Saint. Dave Kovetsky says, who's the value I need? A guy 3,500 besides Hernan Gomez. I think we might find some nuggets on the Jazz, and then depending on Trae Young news, you might get into some DeLon, right? Aaron Campbell says, what about Dylan Brooks' defense on Trae? Trae Young's certainly been a guy that can be matchup proof. He can compensate real points with assists. He can draw fouls. So it's definitely a reasonable suspicion, and that's why I have my doubts on this game being 5-point spread, and definitely have all the doubts if Trae Young didn't play. I think all the unders for the Hawks are definitely alive. But yeah, Tyrone Wallace is going to break the slate if Graham and Jose don't play. Wouldn't that be something? Poor Portland. They used to be a fun team. Yeah, Steve. I think I was watching the deeper dive yesterday with Laufey and Josh, and one of the things that Laufey put out there, he was asking what would be the most boring one game slate that you could imagine. And my thought was, this Blazers team has to be in it, and then maybe like yesterday's Pistons team. Like this is an atrocious product right now for the Blazers. And some of it's not their fault, right? If you get a healthy Lillard, a healthy Nurkic, even Anthony Simons to an extent. So, but this road show that the Blazers have out there is, man, it's rough. It's rough, but it do be like that sometimes. What up, Jermaine? What up, Logan? Browns get Watson. Yeah. That whole Baker Mayfield, trade me, don't trade me, I want to be traded, we're not trading you. Well, now it's Deshaun. So maybe that's the guy that can say it. They were one Deshaun. Remember Deshaun Kaiser? Spelled differently, but they were one Deshaun.
Notre Dame guys.
Late.
Notre Dame.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next game here. Knicks hosting the Wizards. Project starting 5 for the Wizards. Raul Neto, Contavious Caldwell Pope, Corey Kispert, Kyle Kuzma, Kristaps Porzingis up against Alec Burks, M. Fournier, R.J. Barrett, Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson. 225.5 is our total. 6-point spread for the home team. New York Knicks. Wizards clean sheet on the injury report. Porzingis revenge game on Narrative Friday. Kyle Kuzma under 8K. We do have kind of a higher total than me and you expected, talking about it on the last show, the PrizePicks show, where this game features two teams that run pretty slow paces, right? New York Knicks, bottom 2 in pace. They're second to bottom 4 in pace, and then Washington bottom 8 in pace. So I thought that maybe this 220 could have been a little bit elevated, but the Wizards' defensive rating really, really bad, and the Knicks, home field advantage here. Maybe they're clicking in the right direction with R.J. Barrett kind of finding his groove since the All-Star break. So I didn't have any front-end warm and fuzzies. I really don't know what to do with Kuzma and Porzingis. Porzingis certainly feels like we're not going to get more than 30 minutes more often than we are. He hasn't done it since coming back, but the coach said he's not on a strict restriction. But with everyone healthy, you just figure that maybe we're not going to get a lot of upside at any of these prices in terms of DFS. So I probably am not going to play much Wizards or any Wizards on a 12-game slate. You could talk me into a little bit of RJ Barrett, 7K on FanDuel, and 8,600 for Julius Randle on FanDuel. I probably wouldn't lose sleep over that. But I don't have a lot of warm and fuzzies on either side here outside of Randle, Barrett. And every now and then, Mitchell Robinson will flirt with high 30s. So any strong leans in this one, or are you kind of lukewarm here as well?
I'm lukewarm as well, and I agree with all your primary targets on it. I mean, Julius Randle definitely has the best matchup here of anyone. I mean, the Wizards have no one that can match up with him. And yeah, he could thrive here. It's just whether this game, can stay close till the end. I've seen the Wizards just not compete, and actually the Knicks actually starting to handle teams a little bit better as of late. So yeah, this would be a game I would really tread lightly on, and maybe just would get to Randall and maybe chase the Porzingis narrative because it is back in the Garden. So
yeah, I agree with all that. I'm coming home. Tone Loke says, "Does Randall playing better? Does Randall play better in high-paced matchups?" I wonder if that's the thing. I don't know if he plays better, but obviously, from a fantasy standpoint, most people project to be more lucrative just because a higher-paced matchup, more possessions, more shot, more and the uses to translate into more opportunities to accrue fantasy points. So,
I thought Porzingis was supposed to get more minutes. It doesn't look like it's the case, or is that just due to being blown out?
I think the last game they lost the whole fourth quarter of Porzingis.
Yeah.
So
okay.
I don't know about more minutes, but the quote was that he's not on a limit. But
it looks like
yeah, it does look like it.
I mean, maybe he gets more running, can push 30, if he can push 30 plus minutes, because maybe they know this narrative for him. I don't know. It would definitely improve his value for sure.
Yeah, I mean he certainly has upside at 7,500, 7,200 if you think you can break through to like a 32, 33 minute game. I put him in at 28 minutes, and I'm getting a really great projection, almost 40 fantasy points. So if I get another 4 or 5 minutes out of that, we could flirt with 50 for sure. And then back in the Garden for sure.
It's cheap price tag, so something to consider for sure.
Mia Moore says, I dropped a like on the video because I wanted to, not because you told me to. If you guys didn't see, I asked you guys in the chat, maybe go check out this video. We posted it right before the PrizePicks stream. But so maybe some of you guys came straight to the stream and maybe this got lost in translation, words. Okay, pause that. But go check this out. I'll spam the chat with the links to it. I don't even need you to just kind of watch it for now, but I do want some engagement, man. Get that type of content going, flowing, and just hit that thumbs up. Maybe leave a comment, like I will. Yeah. And more engagement with these videos, the more YouTube will recommend it to others. Because this isn't necessarily something for DFS. This is for prop betting, and it's a good tool. It really is a good tool. This OddsJam with line chopping and all that good stuff. So go do that for me. I would be forever indebted for you. And then while you're over there, check out the description of that video or this video and get in the free Gundacker Gaming Discord, where you guys have been absolutely killing it. And we will drop the prop detector in the YouTube members channel. So those of you that have that paid membership to the YouTube will get access to that and hopefully crush on prop betting tonight, and especially on PrizePicks. Lakers at the Raptors. Next game on the docket, projects 35 for the Lakers. Russell Westbrook, Malik Monk, Austin Reeves, LeBron James, Dwight Howard, maybe, we'll see. Up against Fred VanVleet, Gary Trent Jr., Scotty Barnes, Pascal Siakam, Kem Birch. We got 225 total, 8.5 point spread in favor of the home team, Toronto Raptors. OG Anunoby, Malachi Flint, both listed as out. LeBron James, questionable, but he's probably, questionably, maybe probable going to play. Dwight Howard's always the wild card here. Do they go big? Do they go small? I believe these two teams just met, right, in the in LA a couple games back. Let me double check that.
Yes,
I'm pretty
yes,
sure.
they did.
All right, so that was how long ago? Let's see.
What's up?
Warriors
Earlier this week, right?
Yeah, I thought it was like just happened, but maybe
Yeah.
I'm sleeping.
I think it was Tuesday.
Tuesday, Lakers, Wizards, Lakers. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe I'm blind. Maybe I'm dumb. LeBron James.
It was the 14th.
The 14th.
So that would
Why
have been
wasn't
40.
that? Why wasn't that in the?
What? So was it Monday?
They don't have it. Was that a makeup game?
Not sure.
Yeah, I don't know. It says it went straight from 13th to the 16th on the. All right, so I thought it was. I was like, I knew they just played. All right, we don't have access to that, but I think in that game, that was a game. I think Dwight Howard was out for family issues, right? I think that was that game. Chad, you might help me out.
I think I think he was out that game.
Yeah, he didn't play that game. So who knows if Dwight's going to play tonight? Usually, if he doesn't play. Period. But if he did, he might start at the 5 and put a little size against the Raptors, who have a little size of their own. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. LeBron James, of course, could be the mega usage monster. Less than 8K on both Fanduel and DK. Got him for about 60 fantasy points on both sides. Certainly live to live up to that. We're starting to see Vegas catch up with what's actually happening in the field. The casual bettors are catching up as well. An 8.5 point spread in favor of the home team, Toronto Raptors. So lots to be pessimistic about here. Russell Westbrook just 6,600 on FanDuel. Oh, why?
Can we talk about him for a second?
Oh, yes. Yes, we can.
Okay, so this Narrative Friday, I feel bad for him, man. Like, this guy is just catching so much heat from everyone. I don't know if you watched that Timberwolves game recently. He was just getting it all game long.
Yeah.
Pat Bev did this like stinky, like held his nose towards him, and then laughed, and then one hit LeBron on the butt, and LeBron just ignored him like usual. And then Cat caught a air ball from him at the corner 3, and then looked up at the Raptors like, "Hey, where's the air draft? Like what? Like there's some air coming in." And then and then there's a fan at the Timberwolves game saying like, "Hey, Westbrook," instead of Westbrook.
What you call me?
Nickname. Yeah, he didn't like that. And then even after this Toronto game, the most recent one on Monday, he was getting heat from a fan in the parking lot saying, "Hey man, I bet on you," and he was all mad and everything, and they were going at it back and forth in the parking lot. I mean, they just keep poking the bear. Like, is he just gonna erupt one of these games, or is he done?
I don't think this is the right environment for him.
Yeah,
I don't think this is, and I never thought that. But yes, the fans have turned on him, and it sucks to see it. I hate when fans turn on anyone really. Like Ben Simmons getting bullied the way it is in Philly. Like it kind of like it's cringe because I don't know.
It's sad.
This is the way the world is, but. I mean, Westbrook's definitely getting paid for a reason. You're getting paid to be good, and he's not been good. But yes, there was a lot of and then a cat called LeBron a BAN for those of the culture that might be able to spell that one out.
And then Westbrook came back and struck back and said, "Nobody over there has done anything in this league, so I'm not worried."
Mm-hmm. Hey, kudos to the T-Wolves for playing with some spunk here, but. Hey, just like Embiid, man, you're going to have Twitter fingers. You're going to write checks or your mouth's going to write some checks. If you ain't cashing them in June, then you shouldn't be talking. So, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if Cat, I guess he's just dropping 60 real points. He feels like he's done something. We'll see. I like the T-Wolves. I like that type of attitude, but I also feel like if you're going to give it, be ready to take it, right? I don't really see... Mm-hmm. And that's why I don't mind when Beverly did what he did, because Westbrook went out there and Beverly make y'all think he playing defense. Well, okay, all right, you just but what is it? Cat? Come on, bro.
I love that comment. I love it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So back to the Raptors side. What's going on with Nick Nurse? Like I just can't trust this guy. He wrote said a report before the game against the Clippers. What was it, 2 nights ago? He said Fred VanVleet and Scotty or Gary Trent are not 100%. I don't know if they'll play. We'll see. Then they ended up playing, and they ended up playing their usual minutes.
Nick Nurse. Yep.
Yep. And I mean, I don't know. Like, is VanVleet, is his knee really a concern? I mean, because he's so cheap right now at this price tag, especially on FanDuel. I just don't know what to make. I can't trust the Raptors right now. I don't know.
That's Nick Nurse. Nick Nurse is that dude.
I know.
We're going to monitor his minutes. He's going to play 40.
Right.
Yeah, I think he is really, really cheap. He hasn't really paid off this price point at an exuberant clip here. 3 for 14 against the Lakers in that last outing. I think, my approach is going to be pretty simple. I get some exposure to the Raptors, probably limit to 2 per lineup at most, and I probably expect to get the most of like Barnes and Siakam. But for the most part, yeah, I'm not running here. And then, if this game does live up, this 8.5 point spread kind of leaves the door open for it to get ugly. If that happened, then kind of all bets are off. So LeBron is the biggest question mark here, because LeBron can truly be the slate leader in fantasy points scored. Anytime a 12-game slate gives you an opportunity to grab the guy that's leading the slate in raw points, I think LeBron certainly is an intriguing click. He dropped 49 fantasy points on 30 real points against the Raptors last time out. The team held to just 103 real points. So if we just run back what just happened, there's not much to love here, but I do think Trent, Barnes, Siakam all in play. And then we mentioned the Raptors team. Their team defense has been okay, but probably more palpable is their steals per game. 1.6 steals per game for VanVleet, 1.8 for Gary Trent, 1.2 Barnes, 1.3 in Siakam. Gary Trent, what is he, top 3, top 4 in cumulative steals on the season? If you can find some action on like 1.5 steals, if something like that opened up on PrizePicks, maybe grab some of that just to have some fun. But
they have 1.5 for VanVleet and 2.5 for Gary Trent.
Steven Leibowitz says Nick is the lyingest liar in all of Liarland. He do be lying though. Steve says if Russell Westbrook was John Wilkes Booth, Lincoln would have enjoyed the play. Oh man. Anyway, speaking of enjoying the play, I enjoy playing at PrizePicks.com. Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. PrizePicks.com, the sponsor of this show. If you guys haven't checked them out, you should, because they are killing the game right now. It is the way where DFS can meet prop betting and sports betting can meet your household. If you're in a state where you can't quite sports bet just yet, we're holding out here in Texas too. But if you want a happy medium, simplifying 12-game slates, PrizePicks is the answer. If the question was, what do I do with this 12-game slate? Who's the value? I don't know what to do for my lineups. Well, the answer is, hey, go play PrizePicks. So PrizePicks is going to get you an opportunity to take advantage of matchups that we've identified are plus matchups to take advantage of. And then, of course, if you're worried about blowouts ruining your lineups in the first quarter, you can take advantage of maybe some first half props on PrizePicks, or you can reverse it, man. You can take some unders in the second half, but the full slate of PrizePicks on NBA, they'll allow you to target real points, rebounds, assists, PRA, fantasy score, 3 points made, free throws made, blocks and steals, and doubles. And my favorite, of course, is the fantasy score, because I've created fantasy projections for 7 years now, and a lot of times I can find some pretty sharp contrast between my projections and theirs, and that has been kind of a Honeywell here. So if you guys are not on PrizePicks, sign up using code GUNDACKER. They'll double your first deposit up to $100. And then, of course, everyone that signs up using my code, PrizePicks, is like, yo, Gun, this guy used your code, so here's some bread. And it's a cool way to keep these streams free, the content pumping out and we have a lot of fun. And somebody like Josh, who grinded DFS for so long, has really found himself to fall in love with PrizePicks, and that's not just a Josh story. So many people have made that transition because it's just a simpler way to sweat. I mean, Friday night, 12-game slate, right? It's hard to manage lineups and then go to the steakhouse and take your old lady out. Well, on PrizePicks, you don't have to manage anything. Once it's in there, and then you can keep an eye on the box score. So go check that out. What up, Adam Palmer? Says, we in this one tonight, fellas. Let's play some Brown and Claxton tonight. You want some Bruce Brown and Nick Claxton? Okay. Sure. Dang Lazy Mofo says, minutes monitored equals, yep, he can play 47 minutes a game. I monitored it myself. Yeah, Nick Nurse is certainly one of those not trusting coach speak stuff. Carlos says, I don't know, Gun. I'm only comfortable being the giver, not the taker. Okay. You're the pitcher. I'm the catcher. You ever watch Ren and Stimpy?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
How did they let us watch that show?
The shows they let us watch back then in the 90s, man.
Yeah, you go back and watch them now. Like, what? Yeah. You can't even say that now. Like, what? That show was crazy.
It was nuts.
Pacers at the Rockets should be nuts. 242 total.
Oh, yeah, this is the game.
We've got a Pacers projected starting five of Malcolm Brogdon, Tyrese Halliburton, Buddy Hield, O'Shea Brissett, Goga Batadze, maybe, possibly, potentially. Up against Kevin Porter, Jalen Green, Eric Gordon, maybe, possibly, potentially. Jay Sean Tate, Christian Wood, 242.5 total from the Department of Redundancy Department. We both kind of laughed about it. Rockets are often in 230, 240 totals, but usually the spread is like minus 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. But this one's just 4. So we get unstoppable force against the unstoppable object. Yeah, that's right. They're both crazy bad defenses. And today, being that the Rockets playing host, we get a crazy fast pace. So a lot of goodness potentially coming from this one. We highlighted Tyrese Halliburton earlier on the PrizePicks show, on the Odds Jam show. Rockets run the third fastest pace in all of basketball. So this is a spot where we can get a couple more implied possessions for the 35 minutes on Halliburton, 30-plus minutes on Buddy Hield. Just so much to like. I have over 40 fantasy points on Halliburton right now. I'm getting solid projections on Brogdon. Not breaking scales as much as I thought I could be with this one when I first saw it on the slate, but that's because Bing Bong.
Adam Palmer super chatted $19.99. Top end heavy today. We doing balanced or some scrubs in the lineup for GPP plays.
Let's go, Adam. Adam with the 20. Appreciate that, Adam. Yo, Adam just took over the biggest D of the month, man. So you guys better watch out. These hip high cups at the edge of tables. If Adam's around, they're gone. You know what I'm saying? We doing balance or some scrubs in the lineup? So I definitely like the thought of starting with like Jordan Clarkson, going from there. I like this game. I do think this game is more volatile than I wanted it to be. And if we're just looking for like value points per dollar, the Rockets might give us a little bit more to like. A 6K-ish Porter, 6K-ish Jalen Green, and Christian Wood being 8K or less. All those guys could certainly pay off their price point. I have them all projected well individually. Would like to see Eric Gordon out to feel a little bit better. He's missed a game here and there in his last couple slates, and then Dennis Schroeder's been kind of like back in the mix. So there's enough volatility moving around that there could be some landmines to exist here. But hey, if we lost Eric Gordon today, I would be a little bit more privy to Jalen Green's real point floor, and then just generally the whole team. That's a big time total, big time pace. So Josh, even though landmines exist, I think Jalen Smith is somebody I'm gonna like quite a bit. I think Tyrese Halliburton, somebody I'm going to like quite a bit. And one of the things we like about Halliburton, we both co-signed this one, is the Houston Rockets turned the ball over more than anyone in the league, right? The most steals per game allowed. And Tyrese Halliburton, as much as we praise him for getting assists, he can get you some steals too. Rockets are... that's steals per game. Steals per game allowed. Rockets allow the most by a mile steals per game. And if you just kind of check out what Halliburton's been doing as of late in the steal department, you'll see that it may not be nothing but a thing for Halliburton to get 2-3 steals in this matchup, and maybe more lucrative on FanDuel. That's +9 right off the rip. 1-1, 3-2-3. And in this fast-paced matchup, we've seen crazier things. Like we don't have to look too far to see some just incredible high steal games against the Rockets. I think Alvarado was the recent one that went or Torrey Craig too. So I do like the thought of Halliburton's upside. Even Malcolm Brogdon, like if Malcolm Brogdon, fell into 32 minutes, I think 40 plus fantasy points is there for him. And then somebody in that front court is going to pop off. My vote is on Jalen Smith. What's your read on this one? If you had to start podium ranking guys in this game you want exposure to, who stands out?
No, I'm with you on your targets. I mean, the obvious ones is going to be Brogdon and Halliburton. Mm-hmm. I like Halliburton probably. I'm leaning more, even though he's priced higher than Brogdon, but just because of steal potential, like you said.
Yeah.
A lot depends on Dorte too. Like if Dorte's out, that would make me Healed a little more in this matchup. But I guess it would make sense to do a combination of either Halliburton and Healed together, or Brogdon and Healed together. I probably wouldn't run all three together. And then so the debate between Jalen Smith and maybe a Brissett, both have potential foul trouble in them, especially Jalen Smith. We've seen it before, and Christian Wood can draw fouls for sure. Yeah. I've seen that this season. I mean, so I got a little debate here. So if Brissett and Jason Tate are about the same price tag on both DK and FanDuel, and they're both around probably the same amount of minute projection. If you had to pick one, which one would you go with, or could you even play both at those price tags? Because I think Brissett, I mean, they're both small forward, right? And I don't think they're power forward eligible.
Tate should be.
Tate is, but not Brissett. So
Brissett is on DraftKings,
but not on FanDuel.
Right.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. They really feel like the same play. So
they do.
I mean, I'm a scumbag, right? I'm gonna have 150 bullets in the chamber to fire away. Mm-hmm. So I'm probably just gonna have equal amounts of both. But yes, pre-flop, it feels like the same play. Sure. By the way, it kind of slipped through the cracks here. But Victor Oladipo is listed as out today. I know we're still waiting on the Jimmy Butler news. I guess we haven't got to that name. That'll be next. So somebody wanted to throw out there because we were privy to Tyler Hero stuff anyway, and that just makes it better. Brissett and Tate feel like the same play, and that's the annoying part of this game. There's a lot of guys healthy that we have otherwise seen out, whether it be Brogdon, whether it be Tate, or Eric Gordon, guys like that. So
if Aaron Gordon's out, would that make you like Green even more, or is that just a boost for secondary guys like Garrison Matthews?
I think it probably means Garrison Matthews starts, but I think it's stronger for Jalen Green. Jalen Green, since the All-Star break, has really flourished. I think 20 plus real points is a real outcome for him. So if he starts at 20 real points and gets some peripherals, I'm in on that. I got just about a 30 fantasy point projection on Jalen Green, and say with KPJ. I think those two price points for the projection, I'm going to end up having a whole bunch of them. It really comes down to Christian Wood being good or bad.
It's always about the Wood.
It really, oh God. Let me get an update on Goga before we move on, because Goga's status is certainly a big one. Because if he's out, it probably makes me like Jalen Smith that much more. Right foot soreness. Isaiah Jackson's out with a concussion. So if Goga is out and Isaiah Jackson's out, yeah, Jalen Smith would probably fall into like my highest owned player category of clicks. You know what I mean? Like that's a huge play, and then it beefens up O'Shea Brissett. So I'm all here for no Goga. So Goga, you want to take the night off? You're out there, buddy. Go on, do it. But Jalen Smith has been a per-minute monster. And I love centers in this spot, man. This pace creates so many rebounds. You saw Dwight Powell had some Shaq numbers the other day. That's what I think you could see from a guy like Jalen Smith giving you 28-plus fantasy points in 3 games straight. And, a matchup like the Memphis Grizzlies, not a really good matchup. They only scored 102. This game gives them, 20 more implied points. And I do think a double-double bonus on DraftKings could be ripe, but it does require Goga being out. He made it happen. Says Ja props are up, so I'm guessing he's playing. I think Ja was closer to in. He was on track to play. It was Trae Young that we are kind of waiting on. YouTube Hip says Ren and Stimpy is legendarily inappropriate. It was so inappropriate.
Hey, Jordan Clarkson props are up. We can get to that next game. We can wait and hold out for that.
We can.
When we get to there.
Could also hold out for 100 likes. So right now we just got 40 of them, but 139 viewers, man. Maybe we get to 70. Let's meet in the middle. 70 likes. If you guys just forgot about it, I get it. It is
Friday,
a thing. We just had it open. It was like, I forgot to hit the like button. Well, hit the like button now. It'll exponentially increase your odds of cashing tonight. That's been scientifically proven by science. You can't argue with science. I mean, what? Nope. Thunder at the Heat. Next game on the docket. Projects 35 for the Thunder. SGA, Trey Mann, Aaron Wiggins, Darius Baisley, Isaiah Roby taking on Kyle Lowry, Duncan Robinson, Jimmy G Buckets. And the G stands for, is he gonna play? We don't know because he got hurt in that last game. And God dang it, he didn't come back. PJ Tucker, Bam Adebayo. And then, like I said, we just learned that Oladipo is not going to play today. So with Oladipo out, we were already privy to Tyler Hero props. Most notably, you mentioned it on the early look PrizePicks video. We kind of elaborated on a little bit on that PrizePicks stream right before this stream. But Tyler Hero has been a second quarter extraordinaire for the Miami Heat. So if they keep his first half prop low, we might be there again. And if Jimmy Butler sits this one out, 16-point spread, you could put him on ice. We've definitely seen them be cautious with him. If Jimmy Butler sits this one out, Tyler Hero is going to project extremely well. Even though he's 75, 7,400, I think 40-plus fantasy points is a realistic range outcome. And then, of course, if Butler's out, we know Kyle Lowry's assist rate shoots up, and we know Bam Adebayo would also be an incredibly well-projected play. The caveat to all of this is a 16-point spread, right? Does it stay close enough, long enough, strong enough? Because this Heat team is that good. So with that Oladipo news, I guess we could still feel somewhat confident if we wanted to still stick to the Hero first half points prop.
I mean,
it's not up yet, right?
I don't believe so.
Yeah,
it strengthens it even more because, like I said, Hero plays the entire second quarter, and Depot was playing the first half of the second quarter, the first 6 minutes of the second quarter with Tyler Hero, while Jimmy Butler and Lowry and Bam sat on the bench for that first half portion of the second quarter. So we might just get Tyler Hero pretty much all by himself in that first 6 minutes of the second quarter.
The Texans get 3 first-round picks, a third-round pick, and a late-round pick swap. And while all that happened, Juju Smith-Schuster announced that he's going to Kansas City. So, a lot of activity in the NFL right now. I'm definitely in agreement with you. SGA is under 10K on both sides if he can play. And right now he's questionable. If he can play, he has been a dart throw for 50, 60-plus fantasy points. I do think the matchup gets a little bit softer if Jimmy can't play, and maybe that 16-point spread stays close enough, long enough. One thing about these two teams is they run slow enough paces that it could take a little bit of time for the game to be completely done and stinking, right? 20-point spread may not happen until the third quarter. Heat, if they're without Jimmy, could just play down to Thunder a little bit. So if SGA can play, I can kind of paint that range of outcome. We'll go pull up the Oklahoma City Thunder injury news and notes. And SGA questionable with a right ankle soreness. Nothing more definitive than that. So something to keep an eye on. Mr. Russell says, can I do PrizePicks in Cali? Yeah, Josh is in Cali, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You don't have sports books, right?
No sports books as of yet.
That to me. I think if you're in a state that doesn't have sports book like me, PrizePicks is like a happy medium. So I
Yeah.
would definitely check that out. And if I was gonna check it out and I hadn't been on there, I'd probably use code Gundacker when I signed up. But I would probably take advantage of that first deposit bonus up to $100. And I was like, oh, how do I use that code? Well, if I'm on a desktop, I would just look at the live chat, and Gun would probably post a link that if I click on that link, it'll just do it for me, and I can sign up, and then it'll turn my first deposit into 2x instant credit, playable, no slow drip, none of that playthrough nonsense. So yes, you can play PrizePicks in Cali. That's a nice signing for the Chiefs. Yeah, I don't mind it. I don't mind it. If Jimmy gets rolled out, this might be one of those situations where the Heat just ends up being a full stack team. Everyone's playing Lowry, Hero, Bam Adebayo. Adebayo's DK price point, very, very nice, 8,300. I'm already getting a 40-plus fantasy point projection on it, so I'd certainly expect that to jump up to close to 50 if we lost Jimmy, if not exceed 50, especially considering how bad the Thunder have been against the center spot all year. And then another guy I would keep an eye on is if SGA was in, Darius Bazley. I've been kind of playing him somewhat religiously with Favors out, with JRE out, Kenrich Williams out. Their front court's been Bazley, and then kind of a coin flip between Roby and Olivier Sarr. So I like the thought of SGA and Bazley as kind of dart throws and deeper field tournaments to be a little bit more competitive here. And then, we'll go from there. Keep an eye on the Jimmy news. Pelicans at the Spurs. Next game on the docket, projects 35 for the Pelicans. Devontae Graham, maybe. CJ McCollum, Herbert Jones, Jackson Hayes, Jonas Valanciunas taking on DeJounte Murray, Devin Vassell, Josh Richardson, Keldon Johnson, and Jakob Poeltl. Am I not Poeltl enough for the Poeltl Club? 237 total, 3-point spread in favor of the home team, San Antonio Spurs. Pelicans will be without Brandon Ingram yet again. Of course, Nance and Williamson out. Devontae Graham, though, very notable questionable tag here. And then Jose Alvarado also listed as questionable. Now, I'm probably not going to run to play either one of those guys. Or was going to run to play either one of those guys. However, we do know that if just straight up without Ingram, CJ McCollum bodes really, really well. But if both those guys play, it just makes it that much safer and that much more viable of a target. Devontae Graham, friend of the channel, dealing with right hip soreness. Jose Alvarado, left finger laceration. So I'm sure you wrap a Band-Aid on that and be ready to go. That right hip soreness, though, definitely something to be cognitive of. CJ McCollum just might be one of the favorite plays on the slate for both Fanduel, DraftKings, and especially PrizePicks. And then I love Jonas Valanciunas as a handcuff, and it might get me in trouble. But let's go pull up that on-off court tool, that NBA Wowie from Add More Funds. Shout out to them. Matter of fact, I do have an Add More Funds referral code. If you guys, for some reason, are not using this tool, you should be. They have a free version and a paid version. And, of course, if you get the paid version, I get a little kickback on that. It's another way to support the stream, support the channel. But let's go pull up the Pelicans here. And let's put... I feel like I've sold all the way out, Josh.
Why?
I'm just like, I've got affiliate deals with everyone now. It's like, anyway, if I put McCollum on the court,
you deserve it, man. It's all good.
Yeah, see, there we go. Those are the positive vibes. Let's put McCollum and J-Val on, and let's take off Mr. Ingram. And I'm not gonna toy with Devontae and Jose Alvarado because those guys really didn't move the line too much. So I'll just kind of stick to the general sense without Ingram, with McCollum on. Mox says, apparently we need to, quote, uphold our promise to Native Americans. Sought areas for anti-gambling bill. Oh, wow. That's crazy. Yeah, I know in Florida that was like the main kickback, right? They gave the natives, I think it was like 5 licenses to lease out. And and don't quote me on like the numbers there, but I think the general concept was the natives thought that they would make more money just paying the fines for not giving out licenses. So I don't know if you're in Florida, Mock, but that was something that my boy Fish Fan was trying to explain to me. Man, this is taking forever to load. Are we still live? Did I lose the stream? No, right? We're still good, I think.
Man, if both those guards are out, like Trey Murphy's gonna be a lead play on Fanduel, right?
He definitely can be an incredible permanent producer. Am I a lot like this is taking forever? It feels like my internet.
Oh no, are you on Add More Funds? I think it's something wrong with their server.
Oh, you think it went down? Okay, I thought my internet.
It's just really slow on loading.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I think something's wrong with their server for sure.
All right, let me try it again real quick. It looked like it was starting to load. But what we're getting to, I was trying to aesthetically show you guys, was McCollum had a 40% assist rate, and JVal had a high 20s usage rate. I'm in the Bay Area like Josh. Oh, okay. Wait, do they have reservations out there with legal gambling in Cali? I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. McCollum, JVL on, Ingram off. McCollum a 30% usage rate, a 41% assist rate. JVL a 25% usage rate. Both these guys $1.25 plus on per minute production. So I like the thought of putting them together, handcuffing them, and just going to battle, especially at 87 on FanDuel and AK on FanDuel for JVal. Both those guys were targets for me. I was definitely very privy to the McCollum 7.5 assist prop that we saw on PrizePicks and on Sportsbook. So if you guys want to grab on that, this I think right now is both me and you have as our highest rated play of the day, over 7.5 assists. So just wanted to at least mention that. And then, of course, if you can get the Spurs in a competitive game, DeJounte Murray, anytime you can get 35 minutes out of him, he has the potential to lead this slate in fantasy points scored. So I do like Devontae, JVal, DeJounte Murray, hiccup. And then on the Spurs front court, past Jakob Poeltl, Keldon Johnson's put together a stretch of games, has he not? 20, 34, 13, 27, 13 real points, has essentially started you off at 29 fantasy points and gone from there in 4 straight games, and a couple of 40-plus fantasy point games. So against the Pelicans, certainly might have to get to more Keldon Johnson than you might have expected to. Same for Devin Vassell. And then off the bench, Lonnie Walker, 4,900, probably gets the back end of the player pool. If Devontae Graham and Jose Alvarado were both to be out, I'm with you. I'm with the chat. I do like Trey Murphy quite a bit. I think if it's a cut finger for Alvarado, for a guy that earlier this season when they went to Brooklyn, it seemed like he was enjoying every opportunity he had, I think you put a Band-Aid on that and play. Devontae is certainly somebody I'm really concerned about. So if Devontae didn't play, what would that do? Would that put Trey Murphy in the starting lineup? Maybe. Would that move up Herbert Jones a little bit? Maybe. Would they, have Najee Marshall? And there's a couple of ways they can go, but every which scenario has me really liking the volume, the usage for McCollum and JVal. So I'm going to highlight those guys again, and those are going to be my favorite targets here. Do you agree with everything I just said, and any nuggets?
Yeah.
Hidden?
No, I totally agree with you on that. I just think that let's just say Devontae's out.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would assume that Trey starts at the 2 and McCollum would move up and run point. Like he's been doing, because I've seen that unit in rotation recently, where they do have McCollum and Trey playing side by side, and McCollum running point when Devontae's off the court. That would make me like McCollum's assist prop even more, because Trey is a bucket getter, and he's not really a distributor. So yeah, I could get on that, and Trey Murphy should push close to 30 minutes, right? If Graham's out and he's in the starting lineup. So
if so, so there's only been 3 games of McCollum without Ingram, right? And I think each time has been a different starting lineup.
That's true. That's true.
And not once has it been Trey Murphy, but I think Trey Murphy might have been in the G League for like the first game or two for McCollum starting, and then last game was Devontae. So it's definitely not impossible for Trey Murphy to start, but it hasn't happened yet. So I just want to.
So you think there's a possibility that it could be Alvarado?
I think it could be like Najee Marshall and put Herb Jones at the 2 or something like that.
Oh, so they would just okay.
But I think Trey Murphy starting is definitely possible, because like I said, I think Murphy might have been in the G League for those first 2 games without Ingram, but don't quote me on that. But I do think Murphy gets minutes today if Devontae's down. And right now I got Murphy for 24 minutes with Devontae in the mix, and that's producing about a 20 fantasy point projection there. But if we can get that even higher, maybe push 30 at 4,100, that's going to look really good on FanDuel. Shout out to the homie Eric for calling Trey Murphy a couple slates back last Friday, man. Big game. But yeah, I like a lot from this game. I'll probably end up with some supplementary tertiary exposures that maybe I'll end up having more of than I should. Herbert Jones, Jackson Hayes, Keldon Johnson, Devin Vassell, guys like that. But I just like this game quite a bit. Kind of like the Pacers and Rockets game. Like those are two games that I'm with a lot. Looking at the live chat. Arizona Drama says, I hate that FanDuel made Zach LaVine shooting guard only when he used to be point guard shooting guard. Can't get CJ when I got LaVine and Booker locked in already. That's fair. The Hawks tweeted Ja versus Trae Young. You don't want to miss it, so I'm assuming Trae is in. All right, that's fair. And the fact that Vegas was pretty steady on that 5-point spread seems like they wouldn't have put that out there unless they thought that Trae would be in. Cautious says that he thinks Marshall would start. So I think that's fair. That's what we saw. But it's open to, we'll see. All right, Clippers at the Jazz, next game on the docket. Big game here. Clippers project starting 5, Reggie Jackson, Amir Coffey, like the drink. Marcus Morris, Nick Batum, Ivica Zubac. Birthday boy? Is that what you said? Narrative Friday? Narrative Friday. Yep. Taking on Mike Conley, Jordan Clarkson, Royce O'Neal. I don't know what Rudy Gay or Rudy Gobert. This is a lineup that can get a little open for interpretation. So I ran through a couple things on the previous stream. I don't need to go full on repeat what I was saying. But in the last start for Conley without Donovan Mitchell, Trent Forrest started and had like 10 assists or something crazy. It was like a lot of assists. So Trent Forrest being out on top of no Bojan and no Donovan Mitchell is pretty doggone impactful. And just from a general statement, Bojan and Donovan Mitchell, you put that together, man, that could be 30, 40, 50 points that you don't have from a normal game. And then lately, Donovan Mitchell's been facilitating a little bit more, 5.5 assists a game on the season. And then Bojan, I think it's like 4 or 5 rebounds, something like that. So plenty of starting minutes and shot volume to replace. And another thing is the Utah Jazz shoot the 3 ball more than any other team in the league. And a lot of that is Bojan and Donovan Mitchell's shots from behind the arc. So what do the Jazz do? What do Quinn Snyder do now that they don't have 2 of their better scoring options? All eyes are on Mr. Jordan Clarkson at 5K on FanDuel, 5,800 on DraftKings. I just got to imagine he's going to be the highest owned player on this slate. And I really don't have any pushback here because I fully expect him to lead this team in shot attempts and probably also going to find me leaning pretty heavily on Mike Conley, who I've got for a really aggressive fantasy point projection. I got both these guys at high 30s in fantasy points. So I'm going to be pretty bullish on that. If I go pull up that on-off court tool and pull up the Utah Jazz, I want to kind of make this a little bit more similar to what we might expect right now. But point blank, I'm just going to take off Donovan Mitchell. Also got to remember, if you guys are doing these searches, to take off Joe Ingles because he was getting some run in previous games without Donovan Mitchell. And then, of course, he was also a facilitator for them as well. Let me take out Bojan. And then I'm just going to put on Mike Conley here and get the first result. And then we're going to add Jordan Clarkson using the NBA Wowie tool. I am hungry. I got some leftover spaghetti. It's gonna go down. In the pre-log voice chat, you're gonna hear me slurping. 20% usage rate on Mike Conley, 34.5% assist rate, 1.12 FanDuel points per minute. Jordan Clarkson, a near 30% usage rate with about a 1 fantasy point per minute production rate. So I like all of that. And I was really keen on this number right here, the 34.5% assist rate. If we can get those minutes right, I kind of like him for his assist prop through and through. Prop betting, PrizePicks, they have him at 6.5 assists. So that's about 1 above his season average. Yeah, I'm fine with that. I ended up taking some early PRA shots, but now that we talk it out a few times, I kind of like the thought of Conley assist a little bit more, and then trying to piece together what we might expect from this team. So a lot of people have dropped by chat today, and they'll be like, "Gun, who the f is the value?" Well, I think we're dumpster diving in the Utah Jazz. And Rudy Gobert is the only guy, over 7K. The rest of this team is 6K or less. Rudy Gay just really let a lot of people down.
What about NAW?
Yeah, that's what I was getting to, man. It's slow building.
sorry. Spoiler.
Bruh.
All right.
I'm trying to elaborate and take him on this path, bro. It makes me sound smarter.
No, you got it.
Anyway, right now some sites are using this projected lineup. Conley Clarkson, Royce O'Neal at the 3, and Juancho Hernan-Gomez at the 4, Rudy Gobert at the 5, and then guys like Eric Pascal available. Now, Pascal is somebody that I wouldn't be stunned if he started. We've seen him start the season as well. But this is, I'm just going off what other sites are reporting. I think Snyder has a few options, but yeah, NAW's in the mix. Eric Pascal's in the mix. Royce O'Neal uncomfortably is in the mix because I think he could play 40 minutes today. And then Juancho Hernan-Gomez, much like his brother, anytime they get minutes, we've certainly seen them be potentially a point per minute. Now, looking at that last game for the Utah Jazz, let's pull up their minute rotation against the Chicago Bulls. 15-point spread there towards the end. But Juancho Hernan-Gomez started that game. Royce O'Neal was out there. Rudy Gobert, Conley, Mitchell. Could we just replace Mitchell today with Jordan Clarkson? Well, that's what the projected lineups are. And that also soured a lot of people's Rudy Gay experience. I could definitely manipulate that sentence for some sus stuff. But we saw Mike Conley get to 27 minutes. I think we could maybe see 30 to 32 minutes if the pressure's on him to help keep this game closer. And then we saw NAW get a little bit of run there to close this game out. Played the whole final fourth quarter, but he did get some run in the first half as well. So I do think NAW could be live for 20-plus minutes, maybe get an opportunity to feature himself, and he could just straight up be backup point guard duties, although I'm expecting Jordan Clarkson to potentially have one of those giant minute games, 36, 37, 38 minutes, if this game is staying competitive the whole time. So that's, we say all that to say this. Value today might be with the Jazz. I think Hernan-Gomez, Royce O'Neal, Rudy Gay, all ugly clicks, but I'll throw them in the blender, and also we'll probably get to a little bit NAW. But as far as floor and ceiling outcome players, Mike Conley and Jordan Clarkson might end up being two of my higher owned guards, and I don't think I'm going to drive a wedge between them because I do think they have to compensate for a heck of a lot. And Conley's assist rate is high enough that I think it doesn't negatively correlate with too much Clarkson exposure. And also Conley, just generally, you think about the three-pointers that they got to replace if they're going to stick to the script and shoot the most threes per game in the league. Bojan and Donovan Mitchell, that's 15 of them right there. I think Conley can chuck some threes with the best of them. Heck, we saw in that Bucks game, right, with Bojan out, Donovan in, Conley took 9 threes in that game. So we could see almost double-digit three-point attempts from the point guard on top of his 30% assist rate. So I do like Conley quite a bit. I'm going to have a lot of him and Jordan Clarkson, but so will a lot of the field. What do you think on this one? And the Clippers have been a team that I just generally don't get to, and I'm looking at these prices today, and I still don't feel that great about it. So maybe I don't know. Maybe I still don't get there. But anything that I'm missing from this game, and what are you doing with this game, especially on the Jazz side?
Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for all the value opening up on the Jazz, this would probably be a stay away game for me. With the implied total, the pace, and yeah, just overall matchup. But since the value's there, I get it. Yeah, I would be really interested in NAW. I guess it depends on the lineup. Pascal, he's gonna put up points. He's a ball hog. He's a usage hog. So when he gets it, he's gonna shoot. And he can be productive in a limited amount of time offensively. He doesn't really fill the stat line that much. So for DFS, I mean, his ceiling could be limited. But if he starts, he's definitely in play. Yeah, I would like Hernan Gomez more because he is a guy that does fill the stat line. We've seen ceiling games from him. So yeah, all those tertiary guys that are pretty cheap are in play to open up more salary for you in the top spots in other games. So I'm with you on that. And Mike Conley, yeah, it's just the potential's there. It's just can he play more than 30 minutes? That's the question. And I would feel more safe for Clarkson to do that than Conley. So if I had to choose between the two, I would go with the cheaper Clarkson.
Yeah, I definitely think Clarkson's way more alive to play 30-plus minutes, but I think Conley can too. I think Conley might have got there last game if maybe the game stayed a little bit more competitive a little bit longer. But
Sure.
he is a guy that just doesn't play a ton of 30-plus minute games. It just feels like, if not ever, then when. This is the probably the most opportune time to take advantage of that. So,
Yeah, it's a good spot too because point guards we've seen dominate against the Clippers, so it would be good for him. And then Rudy Gobert too. Rebounding against the Clippers has been really good all season long. Clippers are not a great overall rebounding team, so yeah, it's a good spot for Gobert too for his peripherals.
Yeah, I definitely don't mind that. Gobert in that Chicago game, 53 fantasy points, 20 rebounds, 4 blocks. He definitely has that potential. And maybe, like I said, the Jazz being a 3-point centric team, I don't think they'll get away from the game plan. But maybe if shots aren't falling, and they're like, all right, maybe we got to do something a little bit different here. Maybe Conley feeds his big man a little bit more. Gobert has a 22% usage rate in this split. Matter of fact, let me put Gobert on the court specifically with Conley, and then I guess I need to put Clarkson on as well because I expect a lot of overlap between the three. But Gobert is a guy that we never expect for 7 shots, much less 20+% usage. And in this split, he has a 21.7% usage rate. So to kind of put that in perspective. Let's put Mitchell on the court with Gobert and Conley. I swear I just heard the Kim Possible tone. Beep, 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 doop. Gobert, 20% with Donovan Mitchell. That's actually a little bit higher than I expected. But, yeah, over 1.3 fantasy point per minute in both splits. So it makes a whole lot of sense here, especially if he's going to play cleanup and get a lot of the peripherals. And then points in a paint allowed. If we go look at points in the paint allowed in the entire league, the Clippers are allowing a top 6 amount of points in the paint. Mm-hmm. So Gobert's not gonna take those threes. But if they start saying, okay, we need to spread out a little bit, certainly a plus matchup to score in the paint. So I do like the thought of Gobert. I do. I'm getting a 45 fantasy point projection. I'm with that. All right, let's get caught up on chat. Shout out to the live chat. Damien says, yo, what up, Gun? Got a takedown on Fanduel a few days ago. Thoughts on my early line if Crowder sits. Craig, Halliburton, Clarkson, Bruce Brown, KPJ, Fournier, Durant, Jalen Smith, Gobert. I like a lot of that. I would probably, and just me personally, I would probably be trying to get Gobert into J-Val, but I'm not entirely sure on Torrey Craig's status. And then Evan Fournier. It's Evan Fournier. You know what you're going to get. And by that, I mean you don't know what you're going to get, but you know that you don't know. And I know that you know that you don't know because you know that I know that I don't know that you know that you don't know, right? Lorenzo says, so literally Clarkson will be the only shooter on the Jazz tonight. Sounds like it. A few days ago, talking about Kim Possible would have been rough. Why? A few days ago, talking about Kim Possible would have been rough.
When Raj was giving you flack about...
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. All right. Hey guys, after this stream, I'm going to be in the RunDFS.com VIP Discord. So this is the premium Discord behind the RunDFS.com paywall. Obviously, we have the completely free one. The link to the free one's in the description below. But if you guys want to jump in the RunDFS.com one, I will be in the voice chat for the next 2 hours talking the slate, digesting news, creating my player pool, my personal exposures, and you guys can get access to my projections, all that good stuff through a membership at rundfs.com. Once you do sign up, click VIP portal. There'll be a link to the premium Discord and a link to the spreadsheets. Go check that out. It's a good way to support the site. Phoenix Suns hosting the Chicago Bulls. Projects 35 for the Bulls. Ayu Dosunmu, Zach LaVine, Javonte Green, DeMar DeRozan, and Nikola Vucevic taking on Cameron Payne, Devin Booker, Mikal Bridges, Jay Crowder, maybe DeAndre Ayton. 231 is our total. 5.5 point spread in favor of the home team. Phoenix Sun, grueling road stretch here for the Chicago Bulls. Suns notable Q tag here is Jay Crowder, who I really wasn't expecting him to be out in that last game, and I wasn't expecting that to break the entire slate, but it did. He's dealing with left groin soreness. He was held out of Wednesday's game against the Rockets, and that's when Torrey Craig checked in and did everything and broke the slate. And today, if Crowder plays, should be a little bit closer to normal in terms of Suns without Chris Paul and what we should expect. This is just a 5.5 point spread, so kind of a decent total. A lot of these other totals, Josh, the 230s, the 240 totals, the Pacers, the Spurs game, at least in this game, we really, really know who does what. We know LaVine, DeRozan, Vucevic essentially will do everything for the Bulls, and we know Devin Booker, Cameron Payne do most for the Suns here, with Ayton and Crowder and Bridges kind of being spin the wheel, make a deal. But Devin Booker's the guy that is the interesting click. I got him for about 50 fantasy points. So we know he's going to have a 30+% usage rate. Even his assist rate is live. Cameron Johnson is out as well. So I'm curious to see if this game gets a lot of traction from the field. We've seen Zach LaVine's name a few times in chat, so I'm thinking the Bulls might see LaVine and DeRozan get some run. But what are you thinking on this one?
Yeah, I think Devin Booker would be the key piece in this matchup. But I mean, Vooch on Fanduel is pretty cheap at 7,600. I could get on him with that price tag, and Ayton as well. He's around the same price. He's even cheaper on DK. I think Vooch is always exploitable against versatile bigs like Ayton, so he could have a good game as well. But yeah, Booker would be the primary focus, and I just with LaVine playing and having DeRozan together, like it's hard to choose between the two. But this game has over 230 play total. It has potential for shootout. It's just, can the Bulls keep up with the Suns?
Yeah, and the Bulls against teams with better records than them have not been great. And the Suns have been really, really rock solid. But if they're gonna fight long enough, strong enough, I think DeRozan and LaVine certainly have a case there. And then you mentioned Vucevic. His rebounding potential, especially against the Suns, a little bit more middle of the pack in rebounding. He's getting to a cheap price himself. It used to be I wouldn't play all the three in the same lineup, and I probably still don't. But you can make a case that they're cheap enough that you could if this game went 12 rounds. I mean, I'm getting a 40+ fantasy projection on both Vooch and LaVine on FanDuel, 77-81. That's right there on the button. And if DeRozan hit 50+, I think I could. Damian says, thoughts on Christian Wood today, pace-up spot versus the Pacers, and he's had a tough start last 3 matchups. So we all agree that it's a good spot for Christian Wood. He's just been consistently consistent. Some games he's motivated, some games he's not. And today's Rockets injury report's rather clean in terms of the front court, but the matchup-wise doesn't get much better than what Christian has. And then I also really like my projection versus the PrizePicks projection for fantasy points. Doug says, I hate that the Island Boys ruined the word island. When I heard the word, I used to imagine clear water, sand, and palm trees. Now I think of them. And that's two squiggly wiggly, Coolio haircut looking dudes. Yeah, man. I'm an island boy. Garsby cooking against the Suns. LaVine dropped 50 fantasy last meeting. DeRozan as well. I think it's fine to be on LaVine and DeRozan, especially at these price points. Usage sometimes trumps everything else, so I don't mind going that route here. Got one game left on the docket. Before we do that, we'll take a pause for the calls. Thank you, my love. She brought me some spaghetti. Let's go. Can you bring me the cheese? I love you. More.
So much on.
More. A main event tonight, the Celtics at the Sacramento Kings. Projects 35 for the Celtics. Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Al Horford, and Robert Williams taking on De'Aaron Fox, Justin Holiday, Harrison Barnes, Trey Lyles, Samantha Sabonis. We got 224.5 total, 9.5 point spread in favor of the visiting Boston Celtics. So that 9.5 point spread leaves the door open for this game to get pretty lopsided. And the Celtics have been the best defense. The Kings have been the worst defense. Kind of a fire and ice mash. I was kind of skeptical of the Kings and that spread against Milwaukee. Now Milwaukee did handle their business, but the Kings kept it around close enough, long enough for us to get big minutes here. This Celtics defense is suffocatingly great. So I'm on the fence here. I think generally speaking, I don't have to play any Kings at all.
Fox is big, right? The news on him, like if he doesn't play, that spread's gonna go what, 14?
Yeah, it would be done. Fox is questionable with a right hand injury. Oh yeah, he got injured in that game early.
Yeah,
was selling
all
it.
over his first half point prop, and he got injured in the second quarter and went to the locker room. Such bad luck.
But then finished the game. I'll tell you what.
He came back. Yeah.
If he does play, like if he's active, I would probably take his under. I mean, his point prop probably like 24, 25 if it's an average.
Yeah.
I'd take a gander at the under.
Yeah, I'm with you on that because it was bothering him in that game. That finger, like his shot was way off. He was missing everything, and this defense with the Celtics perimeter defense, yeah, that's a good call.
Just matchup wise, though, a lot of volatility. Jason Tatum obviously has 50 fantasy point potential. That's what the projection says. Robert Williams could drop 40 plus. I think the Kings are allowing amongst the most points in the paint in the league. Block opportunity is always ripe when you're Robert Williams. It's just does he stay out of foul trouble? Does he stay away from Sabonis in terms of foul trouble? There's a lot to like. There's a lot to be skeptical of. I think ultimately, it feels like this game should blow out. Even if Fox was in, like I'm not sold that it's a competitive game because the Celtics have been that good. What's your read here? I think I might get to like single dabs of Smart and Tatum and maybe some Williams in tournaments, especially on FanDuel. But that's about it. I don't think I play any Kings tonight.
Yeah, I think it's too risky. I mean, the Celtics, this is just a really bad matchup for the Kings, in my opinion. And if Fox is out, then I think it's a complete write-off.
Yeah.
I mean, what are they? They're gonna have to get all their points from Barnes and Sabonis, and then Dante off. Would I assume him and Mitchell would share point guard duties, and that's never fun against guys like Smart and Derek White on the perimeter. Let's wait and see on Fox. If he plays, I still am not a fan of the game because of that finger injury is bothering him, and if he's not scoring, again, this game could get out of hand. So
yeah,
it's always fun to get late night exposure on a late night hammer. You want something to sweat till the end, but
I would say if he didn't play, and I had to try and trust and believe, maybe Dante DiVincenzo 4,500.
Sure.
It just goes out there and has enough usage long enough to get there, but no warm and fuzzies. Get caught up on chat, and then we'll try and get out of here, get you guys on your way, and we'll be on our way to the Discord. It is on this slate, we're going to share the prop detector with everyone who has an active subscription or paid membership, not subscription, paid membership on the YouTube channel. So make sure you have linked your Discord with your YouTube if you are a YouTube member on this channel, and check out the official YouTube member channel. Dude, this whistling wind, I swear it's been like this for 10 hours. It's like it's crazy.
You got a tornado coming?
No, but like I look down at my thing and it's just literally there's like it's like a cloud blowing as like a advisory. I don't know. It's crazy. It's windy. It's windy in Texas. Damien says, I think I'm in on Smart. Yeah, I will have single pieces of Celtics sprayed throughout the lineups. I probably don't get to many 2+, but we'll see. Travis Duarte says, Fanduel, Clarkson, Doncic, Brown, Hield, Bogdan, Jalen Smith, Time Lord, Adams. Thoughts? Brown. I imagine that's Bruce Brown. So you're getting Doncic upside. And then you get a lot of volatility in Bruce Brown, Hield, Bogdan, Rob Williams, Adams. I probably want one more big beef guy there. And you're not – there's no – or you do have Clarkson. I don't mind all those plays individually. Bogdan's probably something I wouldn't play if Trey's in. It looks like he should be in. I just don't know how much ceiling is there. If we're talking about tournament strategies, I'm trying to get complete, utter upside. I don't know how much is left on Bogdan's bone with them being healthy against a tough matchup. Better feel on CJ's assists over fantasy points. I like CJ's assists quite a bit, yeah. For sure. Tucker questionable. Moore's looking good. You want to play some Markeith tonight? Maybe. Do we believe he's going to get big minutes? He just might. Hey, guys, twitter.com/Gundecker. Tomorrow, I'll be live at 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central with the coach, Saturday special. So go check that out. Maybe look for Josh's video in the morning, and then I might have another Odds Jam video tomorrow. But I got to get in the Discord at rundfs.com, man. Hit that thumbs up on your way out. I appreciate you guys, each and every one of you. Appreciate you making part of my day, be part of your day. Tell somebody you love them. I love you. Good luck. God bless. And go win some money.